start my timer. Okay, welcome everybody to our digital literacy workshop, and we're taking a break from Google Apps for Ed this week and looking at Edmodo. And there's a lot to cover. We can do more Edmodo sessions in the future, but I'm going to try to go through quite a few things today just to kind of give you an overview of what's available with Edmodo. If I say Google Docs, please forgive me. That's what's been on my brain lately. Okay, so I emailed you a doc, and I also put it in the chat window with notes for today's meeting, and you guys are free to edit those notes if you'd like. I think I set them up that way. If not, let me know and I can change that. And it's got all the information about our evaluation that we'll do afterwards, and where you can find the archive and all that kind of good stuff. So for those of you who are new this week, just a few things about GoToMeeting. It seems to be best to mute everybody and I talk, and then if you have something that you'd like to add to the group, if you'll write it in the chat window. And if you want to say, I would like to talk, I have a great idea I want to share, please feel free to say that, and I can actually change the presenter so that you can share if you'd like. Now it is a pretty quick time, so it's kind of crazy that way, but if we don't get through everything, we can add another session another day. And speaking of that, I wanted to, this is at the very end of the slideshow, but I'm going to say it now. Next Monday, our digital literacy workshop, we are going to spotlight a couple of teachers, or 3 teachers, who are using Google Docs in the classroom. And this is all going to be happening. This is a big thing. But what we're going to do is Greg Dowd, who's a middle school teacher of social studies, and Ashley Moe, who teaches 6th grade at Centennial, and Jason Pasamio, who teaches math at the high school, are all going to share how they are using Google Docs and they're in the apps in their classrooms. And we're going to do that all on our webinar, so you can join in. And all of our admin team, so all of the administrators, just happen to be having a meeting at that time, so they'll be joining in as well and hearing all the great things that these teachers and others are doing using Google Apps for education. So I just wanted to get that in case we run out of time. Today we're just going to be looking at, like I said, the basics of Edmodo. We can go back and dive further in later, and also in the notes there's some really good resources for diving deeper into the notes if you've got a question that's not answered here, which is probably going to happen because there's just not enough time. So, but basically that one here, this where to get help, really important to know. And so make sure you pay attention to that part. So here we go. So here's our little Edmodo guide. And lots of you are using Edmodo in your classrooms already, or as a part of professional development. It can be used both ways, and there are a number of ways that it can be used. So their mission, and I grabbed these slides right from Edmodo. Thank you, Edmodo. Edmodo's mission is to connect all learners with the people and resources they need to reach their full potential. And there's some really cool things going on right now in classrooms and beyond. Right now we have teachers who are participating in a global read aloud through Edmodo, and so they're connecting with classrooms around the world who are all reading the same book at the same time, and the kids are communicating via Edmodo about the book, and teachers are communicating with each other about different ways to connect. Some teachers are Skyping and some different things like that, but it's all connecting together in Edmodo. So that's one really cool way that it's being used. So why Edmodo? It's engaging. Kids like it. It looks a lot like Facebook, which is exciting for them. It's a way for teachers to connect with each other so that you can kind of extend your network outside of the teacher next door. You can personalize it, so you can make it fit your personal needs. There's a million different ways you can use Edmodo, and a couple of those links in the notes have some really good examples of some of the ways that it's being done. And then Edmodo also has some great features for with quizzes and polls and assignments, and you can keep track of how students are doing, and also just even discussions. So it's a good kind of way to keep that whole everything in one place, all nicely packaged for you. It's also available on mobile devices as well, so it extends learning outside of the classroom. So I'm looking over here, and I'm going to try to check the chat window and see if you have any questions. Right now, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to kind of power through here. This is a screenshot of the teacher homepage and some of the things that you'll see here. So teachers can create groups with the little plus button here. Oh, I wanted to say before I get to this part, sorry. In the notes, there's a link to how to actually create your Edmodo account. It's a little different than the generic one, that Edmodo, because we have a district account, so we're all under the mountvernon.edmodo.com. So I've included that in the notes. Basically, just when you start for the very first time, you need a school code, which is included in those notes. But once you're in, your page is going to look something like this. And you'll see, and I'm actually going to move over to my page. Easier for me to see than Katie Roosevelt's page over here. So you'll see when you're in, there's a progress button here, and the progress button would be for you as a teacher to see how students are doing in different classes. It's like a grade book. You can discover different things that are happening. So here, if this is just stuff that they're telling you might be of interest to you. There's also communities here. So you'll see that there's communities for the different subject areas, and from there you can connect with other teachers and get involved in different groups. Similar to communities is publishers. So if you're using it like math investigations, you might find that in here, and you can find other teachers who are using the same tool and have those conversations. You'll see there's lots to see here. So I'm going to go back there. The library is huge. Okay. So in your library, you can store anything, which is really great. There's no limit of space. There is a limit of how big a file can be to upload it. It's like 10 megabytes or something. But you can have as many files as you want, which is really nice. And then from that, you can create folders and share those folders with different groups. So that's really nice. And you'll notice here also that, so everything that you attach to a post ends up in your library. You have these folders, and I'll look at the folders in a second. You can also have access to your Google Drive. So I didn't get away from today without talking about our Google Drive. So you can actually jump in and see all of your Google Drive documents right in here, and then you can open them or you can share them and that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. Folders. You can create as many folders as you want, and you can share them with different groups. I have a crazy one here. Okay, and then on notifications, right now I'm seeing that I've got 5 new group members. That's exciting because we're working on getting people to join groups. So 5 new group members. It might say that 7 students have turned in an assignment, or that I have an event coming up, and different things like that. Okay, and then I'm going to get out of here. And then you also, if you go to your profile, you'll see that you can earn badges, which some people really like to earn badges. And you can tell more information about yourself. And like you can see, I've got 173 items. I have 35 teacher connections. I don't have very many students because I have mainly adults, other teachers in my groups. So there's all that. What else? A really important thing to see is if you need help. There's some great helps over here that you can search. So if you've got a specific question, you can ask. Another place that you can get help, go back here. I see a question here from Jamie, so I'll get to that in just a second. Another great place to look for help is if you go down here in your communities where it says support. If you have a question and you ask it in this area, they will get back to you very quickly with an answer. So they're very good about that. So if you can't figure out how something works, you can ask me, and usually what I do is I go and ask them. But you can ask me, and I'll ask them, or you can ask them yourself. So that's that. And then Jamie says, let's see, do you have to connect Google Drive to it, or is it just already linked? It will, if you're not already connected, like I was, so you didn't see this, it'll ask you if you want to connect your Google Drive, and then you can do that. And that's just your own personal, not all the kids that are in your class and everything see what's in your Google Drive unless you share it with them. But it is a place where you can access that stuff. And so, yeah, when you go into your library, you'll see, I'm in a student thing now. There we go. When you go into your library, you will see, and I have to move this back over here. Forgot what I'm doing here for a second. It'll say connect to Google Drive right here. And then you can just give it your, put in your information, and it'll say Google is asking for permission to do this, and you can say yes. Okay, get back to my slideshow. I went way off of my slideshow. That's okay. Moving on. So you can create groups. So it's very easy to create a group. You just hit the little plus button, and you can call your group whatever you want. Teachers can have a group for each class. You could have one social studies group, and then you can have small groups within that of all your classes. There's lots of different ways to organize. I even saw groups being used, or small groups, I haven't got to that part yet, but I even saw small groups being used like for weeks of the year. So they had one big group, and then the teacher had organized their content by week. So they had all these different groups, and they would assign the students by week, so they could kind of plan ahead that way. Student sign up is very similar. They don't have to have email to sign up. What else? The way that they sign up is they have a group code. So you've said, here's a class that I want you to join, and they put in that group code, and then they create their own username and password. I always suggest that they use their network login and password so it's easier for them to remember. And once they've done that, then if they've already got an account, like another teacher, you know, they've done it or they did it in another year, they will just go in just like you would as a teacher and click that plus button and put in the join code, and then they'd be a member of more than one class. I know I'm really flying through this stuff. There's just so much here. I think it's kind of interesting to see from the student side what it looks like. So this is, again, this is a screenshot of what a student sees. So they see who all their teachers are. They see progress, so they see if they've got any assignments that are due. They see these badges that teachers can award them for different things. They can set a career goal and